Independent is the new buzzword for the ERP industry. Most companies involved in the ERP industry claim that they are independent, but they might not necessarily understand how independent ERP consulting business model works. So, we are going to discuss in this video the top 10 companies that are not independent ERP consultants, which is a very unique business model. So, let's dive in. Hello everyone, my name is Sam Gupta. I am principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP and digital transformation consulting firm. We help our clients with digital transformation strategy, planning, ERP selection, and ERP implementation. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is going to be top 10 companies that are not independent ERP consultants in 2023. So there are many different companies. When you are going to go for your ERP project, you are going to come across at many different companies. And sometimes it's kind of funny because a lot of companies, sometimes they might be selling their own software, but they are going to claim that they are independent. And you have other scenarios where they might be affiliated with vendors and they are going to claim that, you know what, we are not tied to this particular OEM, even though they are reselling their software. So obviously they are going to be tied to them, but they are going to claim that they are all independent. Sometimes they are going to make the arguments that the vendors don't really pay us, so we are really independent. But again, independent ERP consultant, when you are looking for a vendor agnostic consultant, meaning they are not going to have any sort of affiliation, typically their marketing material is going to speak for that. So make sure you pay attention to that. So this list is going to help you understand which are different companies that are involved in the ERP industry and how they differ. So let's look at the list now. Number 10 on our list is affiliate marketing companies. And technically, if you look at affiliate marketing companies, they are not necessarily affiliated with any ERP vendors, but the way their business model works is they are trying to sell leads based on their content marketing authority. They don't necessarily have the ERP implementation experience. For the most part, they are telling the story that the vendors are telling them. They rely on ERP vendors for the expertise. When you start on your ERP journey, you are going to come across as a lot of different affiliate marketing companies. They are going to claim that they can help with the selection. They might also claim that they can help you with the RFP process. But again, they are not going to have as much insight overall from the implementation perspective. They will not be designing your integration, and typically that leads to your ERP implementation issues. Even if you were able to find the right product, if you don't define your architecture during your selection phase, if you don't handle the change management issues from the implementation perspective, you are still going to get all of those issues. So affiliate marketing companies are not necessarily the independent ERP consultants, and that's number 10 on our list. Number 9 on our list is supply chain consulting companies. And these supply chain consulting companies are the business consulting firms. They consult on supply chain. Their business model is they typically engage with the supply chain teams. They are really deep into supply chain, but they are not going to be as deep from the ERP perspective. From their perspective, they might have used ERP, they might have implemented supply chain processes inside ERP, but that's not everything from the ERP perspective. ERP is a lot more than that. They are also not independent. Sometimes they might have affiliation with the ERP vendors or with the WMS vendors, CMS vendors, and they are only going to talk to the vendors that are going to be part of their ecosystem. So the supply chain consulting companies are not necessarily independent ERP consultant. Now, when should you be working with them? If you have any specific supply chain issues that are slightly more siloed, departmental in nature, then they are going to be right fit. but they might not be as great fit to define your ERP selection process or to help you select the ERP system or help you implement the ERP system. They are going to be looking at this more from the supply chain perspective. That's not enough for the ERP. So that's number 9. Now, number 8 on our list is software publisher and OEM. The business model for software publisher or OEM is they are interested in selling their licenses. They might claim that they have implementation expertise, but for the most part, their business model is to sell licenses. Sometimes these OEMs may have their own reseller channel or the consulting channel, but again, they are primarily interested in selling the licenses because that's how they make money. They are not independent because obviously they are trying to sell their software. Sometimes they might claim that, you know what, I am independent. Sometimes these OEMs may not be the ERP OEMs. They might be ISVs or FP&A vendors, sometimes or e-commerce vendors. They all are going to claim that they might be able to help you with your ERP selection. But again, their goal is to sell their product. So their analysis is going to be favoring their product, their processes, their methodology. You are anyways going to be working with them. And sometimes you might feel that, you know what, you need to maintain the relationship with your OEM because you are going to be using their software, and how are they going to feel if you don't have good relationship with them and you are going to be using them for the recommendation for the other consulting companies as well. But for the most part, the companies that they are going to be recommending are going to be part of their ecosystem. They are going to be part of their trusted channel. So you need to be cognizant of that. Yes, you are going to be working with them, but they are not necessarily the independent ERP consultant. So that's number 8. Number 7 on our list is the marketing agencies. And marketing agencies are going to be any of the marketing, branding, SEO, e-commerce agencies. Typically, they engage with the marketing department of the company. They are going to have a lot of clout just because they may have done a lot of work overall from the marketing perspective in increasing your sales, and they are going to claim that, you know what, they can help you with ERP selection, ERP implementation. For the most part, their perspective is going to be very siloed, similar to your supply chain consulting companies, and they might have the affiliation with a lot of different vendors. They might have IP that they might be trying to sell on top of the existing platforms. So they are not necessarily independent. You should be working with them when you have a specific marketing problem that is dealt at the departmental level in marketing, or this is a marketing specific problem, then they are the right fit. They might not be the best fit for the ERP selection, ERP implementation. So that's number 7. Now, number 6 on our list is the executive freelance consultants, and some of these executives could be the ex-executive or ex-board members for the company, or they might be the industry players that might be consulting around ERP. Sometimes they might be in between their jobs and they might be looking for the opportunities on a part-time basis, on the contract basis. They might not go through as many cycles. They might have the affiliation with vendors. So they might not necessarily be independent, even if they might claim that. They might not go through as many cycles, so they might not have as much expertise. They might not be doing as many ERP selection, as many ERP implementation overall from their business model perspective. So they might not know all of the political forces of the ERP industry, how to navigate them, how to negotiate, how to avoid some of the risks that you are going to be facing because of the vendor conflicts, vendor overlap, just overall understanding of the industry. So you should be working with them overall when you require their help in solving a specific business process issues, but they might not be the best fit for the ERP selection, ERP implementation. So that's number 6. Now, number 5 on our list is going to be lean manufacturing industry 4.0 consultants. And this is very similar to your marketing consultants or the supply chain consultants. Their perspective is going to be very biased towards the shop floor manufacturing. Sure, for manufacturing companies, the biggest success factor obviously is going to be shop floor, but that is not to say that the other departments are not as critical. The success of ERP projects rely on making sure you are representing everybody's interest. Even if they might not be equally represented, you still need to make sure you understand their perspective in terms of how each of the decisions that you are going to make are going to impact their workflows. And if you don't do that analysis, then you are probably going to have a lot of planning, forecasting issues. You are going to have costing issues with your integration issues, reconciliation issues. All of these issues could be there. They are consulting on the specific lean processes. They may have used ERP system, they may not have implemented ERP system. Even if they claim that they have implemented, they may have been part of the ERP team. ERP implementation is a very different expertise. You require many cycles under your belt from all of the perspectives before you become a savvy ERP consultant. You should be working with them when you are looking to solve a very specific problem from the manufacturing perspective, from the lean perspective, but they might not be the most qualified for your ERP selection, ERP implementation. So that's number 5. Now, number 4 on our list is the system integrators, the IT companies. Most companies that don't necessarily understand how ERP industry works, they are going to feel that any of the system integrators or the IT companies, they might have the ERP expertise as well. ERP is a very different expertise in general, and all of the system integrators, the way they are going to work is they have very similar business model as your ERP resellers. They are going to have partnerships underneath with different providers, and they are going to have their practices fighting with each other. For the most part, their perspective is going to be very siloed as well, even if they might be able to cover many different ERP systems as well as many different process areas as well. The IT companies that you are going to have, you may have a trusted IT consultant, and you are going to rely on them that, okay, let me work with these IT consultants, and then they are going to help with the IT procurement just because you have been trusting them for a long time, and your hope is going to be that they can find a system that is going to work for their business processes. For the most part, the IT companies are very technical companies in general, and that's why they don't necessarily have the ERP expertise. They are not going to go through as many cycles, just like your freelance consultants or the marketing agencies, and they are not going to be connected with the industries. They might not understand the political forces, and that's why they are not the independent ERP consultants. Why you should be working with them? You should be working with them when you have the specific IT problem, when you are looking for infrastructure, a little bit of security of your desktop, or this is going to be a server that you are buying for your internal OT system. They might be a great fit for that, but not for the ERP selection, ERP implementation. So that's number 4. Number 3 on our list is the ERP resellers, ISVs, pretending to be independent. There are a lot of different ERP resellers, and you are going to find that they might carry a lot of different ERP systems. Sometimes they might claim that they are able to do the POC or proof of concept on these systems. Sometimes they might gang up with other resellers, and they might claim that, you know what, I am going to help you with your selection process. You will be reviewing 3 or 4 different systems. We can show you this inside the ERP system, but they are not necessarily independent. They are trying to sell the systems that they carry. The whole process is going to be biased from the get-go, just because the only reason why they are engaging in the selection process or they are doing it for free is because they want to sell the software. So you need to be careful there working with these ERP resellers. Even if they might carry multiple products, multiple solutions, sometimes that might not be listed on their site. The best way to identify that is going to be to look at their content strategy. What kind of comments are they making? Are they making comments consistently? Are they evaluating all of the ERP solution equally? And that's how you are going to find whether they are going to be independent or not. You should be working with them when you require the product specific expertise. When you have decided that you are looking for the specific product expertise, that's their sweet spot. That's what they are good at. They might not be good at change management, system architecture, identifying different technology solutions. That's where your independent ERP consultants are better fit. So that's number 3. Number two on our list is going to be change or project management consulting firm. And when you look at these change management consulting firm, there are many different flavors of the change and project management consulting firms as well. Change management is a very broad concept, but for ERP projects, you require very deep ERP expertise, even in the change management consulting firms. They have to do this on a daily basis. If they are not doing it on a daily basis, the ERP licensing is changing on a daily basis. Products are evolving, the technology is evolving. So most likely they are not going to go through as many cycles. Just like your freelance consultants or marketing agencies, they might not understand the political forces. They might not be keeping track of the ERP industry. So even though they might have the change management expertise, they are going to rely on the technical vendors for the ERP expertise, and these vendors are going to be telling the stories from their perspective. And because of that, you are going to get a lot of issues overall in your ERP implementation. Their business model primarily is that they are trying to sell the change management services. The ERP change management is very different from your regular change management, and they might not be independent either. They might have affiliations underneath. If they are not talking about each of the ERP systems equally as part of their content strategy, it's very hard to figure out, okay, if they are going to have any sort of affiliations underneath or not. When you should be working with them, you should be working with them when you're looking for the change management of the physical processes or the simpler processes. But if you're looking for the transformation as complex as your ERP, then they might not be the best fit. So that's number two. Now, number one on our list is the accounting fractional CFO firms. And most people feel that ERP systems are accounting systems, and you need to go to an accounting or fractional CFO firms just because they are going to be doing your books, taxes. So you don't have a choice. Sometimes you might be connected with them with your audit relationship. But for the most part, even the accounting and fractional CFO firms, they are going to have very siloed perspective, just like your marketing agencies or lean consultants or the supply chain consulting firms. These all firms are catering on a very specific area. The goal of ERP system is to tie all of these departments, create an unified view, and that requires equal expertise in all of the different departments. So for the most part, the accounting and fractional CFO firms, they are trying to sell their services. They make money by building reports, analytics, doing the analysis. So sometimes they are going to overcommit themselves in solving the problems that can be easily solved using the out of the box processes using ERP. So their business model is going to be aligned with that. They might have affiliations underneath with several vendors, even though they might be claiming that they are independent, they are not tied to any specific vendor. They might be carrying multiple solutions, but for the most part, their business model is very similar to your resellers. The way your resellers system integrated business model works, accounting fractional CFO firms have very similar business model. So that's why they are not independent. You should be working with them when you are looking for the accounting centric expertise or finance centric expertise, but that is not necessarily the ERP selection, ERP implementation. When you get to ERP selection, ERP implementation, you should be working with the independent ERP consultants. So that's number one. If you enjoyed this video, this is also available in the audio form on Google, Spotify, and Apple. So you might want to check and subscribe. If you like this video, we are going to include the in-depth analysis in the form of an article. So check that link. We publish these videos on a weekly basis, so you might want to hit the subscribe button on YouTube. And if you have not checked our digital transformation report for 2023, we are going to include the links. So check that out. On that note, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.